To the same. Okay. God, why does it fucking do that? Why is it suddenly super dark over here? Hello. Hello, everyone. Welcome to Rainbow Soul Astrology. It's good to have you here. Oops, I forgot to play the intro. So you know what? I'm just going to do it real quick. Are you ready?
Welcome to Rainbow Soul Astrology, a weekly podcast presented by Brighthawk and Hollis Taylor. Together, we lay out the weekly astrology in an accessible, inclusive, candid, and insightful way and what it means for you. Hollis is amazing. They're a seasoned astrologer and psychic medium. I'm a musician, artist, and storyteller. We love to make the cosmos relatable, which is why we begin by tuning in with a guided meditation, helping all of us ground and center and feel the planetary energies of the week more deeply. Then we dive into this week's astrological forecast, answer your questions, and then look at the horoscopes for all the signs for the week. Whether you're brand new to astrology or you've been following the stars for years, welcome to the conversation. Welcome to Rainbow Soul Astrology. Let's get centered, take a breath, and explore what the universe has in store for us.
Hello. Welcome, everyone. I'm Hollis, and that's Brighthawk, and here we are. Welcome to Rainbow Soul. I'm glad you're tuning in today, and we've got a big week in front of us, and I hope that you are ready to dive into the astrology. I know that we are. We've had a busy week. Have you been busy? Boy, if I've been busy, I can tell. Mercury is in my 12th house, so I'm so busy. I don't even know how busy I am. um 12th house is like oftentimes things that you don't see, it's things that you don't notice. And so when planets are there, you'll probably have things happening to you and you'll be like, what is going on? And it'll be that planet in the 12th house. Okay. So it's like Mars, Venus, Mercury. When they move through there, you're probably not going to notice it. Okay. Or you'll just not know where that energy is coming from or not be connected to it. So welcome everyone, and we're going to get started first with a little bit of a guided meditation. So I'm going to feature Brett Hawk and step over there with her.
Oh, you took it, okay.
astrology chart in front of you. A circle cut up into 12 pieces of the pie with all the major planets marked, symbols that you don't even know what they mean. And some of them are glowing, highlighted in this vision. And you can see them glowing in front of you, and you become aware that they are Pluto, Saturn, Neptune, and they seem to have slowed down. They have slowed, and you become aware that this process is known as retrograde. Some would say that it is going backwards. And it does feel like it's going backwards. Because when a planet is retrograde, it means we have to review something. We have to go back over that and check in. We might have to review what that meant for us the last time this planet moved. What does it mean in that zodiac, and what is happening in that part of your life? And you become aware that when Neptune is backwards, when it is retrograde, we become aware of illusions, delusions, and things that are not true. When it looked one way, but it was actually something else. And Saturn, which is traveling right next to Neptune right now, is also backwards, reminding us that we are all deeply connected to our systems, our personal system, our government, and all of the world's systems, and how we are all connected, including to the system of planet Earth. And as you pull back into your moments in the here and now, you come back to your body, knowing that when you have to do something again, it's just to make sure you've mastered it. And knowing that when you have a planet retrograde in your chart, this will absolutely mean that you will master that challenge. It might take your lifetime, but you will master the challenge. And now coming back into your body, into the here and now. Wiggle your toes, stretch your fingers, and come back to the here and now at Rainbow Soul Astrology Forecast. Well done, Bright Hawk. Done. Well done. All right. Well, we are certainly in a review period in the great reveal, which I've kind of been talking about for a couple of weeks now. I've been calling it the great reveal because if you've noticed, we've slowly had things revealed in our government, and in other things like that. Slowly information has been revealed, and as a result, we've been learning some things, and then some things are staying hidden, right? Okay, and that will probably continue through the winter. We won't really finish the great reveal until probably till the spring is what I was looking at. It's like April, really, when where Neptune just kind of hangs out in Aries and Saturn moves on. And I feel like that is going to have a lot to not only do with our government, but our own systems, what's actually working, what's not working. So if you find yourself reviewing stuff or looking over stuff, you're in the right place in your personal life. If you're wondering what the heck's going on with the government and things like that, if you wonder what's going to happen in that regard, we'll talk a little bit more about that this week. But I just want to point out that we are in the Great Reveal. It kind of started back on that black moon. I think it was in early September. Might have been the last few days of August. But it was the new moon in the first new moon in September. And there was a second new moon, which was an eclipse in September. And so you've probably had some things come up during that time, some things revealed to you. Maybe you've become aware of some things. All of those kinds of things are all related to this huge astrological sort of, I'm going to say, an unveiling. It feels like a big process because Saturn and Neptune have moved completely. They've kind of gone together like this, out of Pisces into Aries, and then they both stopped in Aries, and then they go backwards. And Saturn kind of passes over Neptune, goes back because it travels a little bit faster, but Neptune's still following it. They both get back into Aries this winter, hang out there for a while. Both of them will turn around and go forward, but they'll pretty much be traveling together within a few degrees of each other pretty much all winter. The further they get apart, the more information that will be revealed. When they separate signs, when Saturn moves into Pisces, which is now separated from Neptune, we're actually getting some information. And then once Neptune joins it, we're probably likely to have more hidden information. Here we go, Braidhoff. Whoops. So there we go. Alyssa said, I'm still waiting on my downloads or reveals to hit. I'm trying to remember your chart, Alyssa. I think you have like a North Node in Pisces or something. Yours, I don't think it would be subtle. find it hard to believe that nothing came through between the moon to the sun. And it makes me also think about the fact that Saturn is in Pisces with you, plus the North Node is there. I'm not sure what's been going on with you, but I wouldn't be surprised if you had some information that I don't know. There had to be some sort of information. It's possible that you missed it. It's always possible. Oh, you have the sun and the North Node in Pisces. Okay. Plus, I'm just going to say Neptune, your ruling planet, is going backwards in Aries. Is there something you're reviewing right now? Is there something you're looking into? The fact that that you're having a nodal return tells me that something's got to be happening to you, Alyssa. Something. It might be a bigger story than just, one day or whatever. So if you take a look at today's chart, you can see that we have Saturn and Pisces at 27 degrees. It's pretty late degree. Plus Neptune is at 0 degrees Aries. That's the planets that I'm talking about. Those are the planets that I'm talking about. They're both red. That means they're retrograde. And it essentially means like I said, Saturn in Pisces tends to be, the system underwater, but it's retrograde. So it's a little bit hidden to us. A lot of us are probably questioning some things that are going on there. Some of us might dig down a little bit further for right now while Neptune is in Aries. I wouldn't be surprised if those people even started to question once Neptune steps back into Pisces, especially once Neptune goes direct and these two planets separate. Most people will be truly questioning a lot of things about the system. Okay. And with the North Node in Pisces there, this tells us this is destiny. This is the way it's supposed to unfold. This is how things will come. Let me say something to you, Alyssa. Maybe it had something to do with your health. I myself have had some health things come up, and I wouldn't say that it was like revealed to me. It was more like I discovered it. And maybe it could be seen that way. That I was sick and couldn't figure out. Well, I had an idea of why, and then I finally proved that that the my intuition was accurate. So I would say that that has a little bit to do with it as well, Alyssa. So I'm wondering about that for you. Okay. Then of course today also we have Mercury in Libra. It's traveling pretty fast. It'll probably be in Scorpio next week. It's going to travel pretty quickly through Libra. And with Venus in Virgo right now, I'd be careful about spending money. Venus in Virgo is not at its best. And with Jupiter in Cancer is starting to form a T-square today with Mercury and Chiron. So, this immediately makes me think about, Chiron in Aries, Mercury in Libra, Jupiter in Cancer. This very much is what kind of challenges do you have in regards to wherever Jupiter is in your chart. So what you want to do is you want to look for Cancer in your chart. Kind of looks like a 6 and a 9 together. It's usually blue. It's like this. It's usually blue, and Jupiter kind of looks like a big number 4. You can see that there in the chart, and that's forming a square to Mercury and to Chiron, which would be your wound or the wounded healer. So so that Jupiter has a lot to do with like I want you to think about it like it's a couple of things. So first of all, yes, it is about like good luck and things like that, but it also tends to have to do with belief systems. Um uh um Yeah, Alyssa said, so it'll still be regards to all systems in general. I have a ton going on, but everything is still pretty much the same. Maybe I'm thinking too inside the box or too far outside the box. It's possible. Also, Alyssa, because the ruling planet Neptune is retrograde and that's kind of your ruling planet and your north node is there and the sun is there, it makes me think that I- it makes me think that something that you know now once Neptune goes direct, maybe I think it's in the winter. Once Neptune goes direct, you'll be like, "Oh my god, I knew it this whole time," type of thing. Could be part of the bigger transit if that makes sense, especially because Neptune is your ruling planet for the sun and for the north node for you. And Neptune is retrograde right now. That's what I'm thinking about. Um And so with Cancer, so you want to look at your chart right now with Jupiter. So you want to find out Cancer. You want to find what piece of the pie it's in. Um, what piece of the pie is it in? Okay, so whatever piece of the pie, that's the house, and that's going to be the challenge you're trying to get to. Okay. And so if you're a Cancer rising, it's going to be on your rising. So this has everything to do with your life and the way it's drawn out. And it will have something to do with what's being said. Are you speaking fairly? And its opposition to Chiron, which is in Aries, which, it has it's your wounded healer, right? This is the part of you that is wounded, that is trying to find healing. And so this is just starting to form today. Um, and I think that it would slowly come together throughout the week. There might be something, a slow conversation, a slow something that you're working through. And I think that T square is kind of the focus of our week. And Jupiter in Cancer is exalted. So that means it is stronger than any of the other planets in the zodiac. And plus, right now, all the other planets are placed. It's stronger than any of the other planets, and it's currently speaking the loudest. Usually, Jupiter in Cancer would speak to everything from patriotism um, to belief systems and to an understanding of what it means to love your home and what your home means to you. So there could be some frustration around that. So Brighthawk, did you want to add anything about today?
Sure. Well, I'm glad you mentioned that Jupiter is very strong right now because, on the other hand, it's really important that we talk about when a planet's really strong, when it's exalted, versus Venus right now in Virgo is in its fall, which means it's rather weak. The Sun in Libra means that Libra is ruled by
Venus.
Libra's ruled by Venus. Venus is in Virgo, not in it's in his fall. So these are the things that we look at when we're trying to find out what's really the strong conversation right now in the chart. I think the T square, it's going to get stronger all week. I think it perfects on Thursday, Friday. That's a very strong conversation. So Jupiter being the strongest voice in that conversation. The void moon this morning happened early this morning at 5:45 a.m. to 10 a.m. Did you notice it? When the moon moved into Capricorn, it's an earth sign. Did you notice that it was easier to focus? Did you? What
I
was your
noticed my
experience?
grandchild was easy.
And he's got major Capricorn placements, including a sun. So isn't that cool? Yeah, so that's what kind of kicks off the week. And of course, we've been talking about that minor trine, what, for going on 2 months now? Super productive day. I'm so glad, Alyssa. That's awesome. That's awesome. So we had a power outage. We had a major afternoon thunderstorm, hail, yada yada. So we lost power for a little while. So I don't have all the voids in the void moons this week. They're not huge. There's one the evening of October 1st, afternoon, evening. October 3rd, one that's overnight from 6 p.m. to 2 a.m. So if you have a late night, that's going into water. Sometimes when the void, of course, moon is moving into a water sign, sometimes it can feel like a wet blanket. I'll be curious what your experience is. Yeah, so that kicks us off for the week. And shall we dive a little deeper into Tuesday and Wednesday?
Okay, hold on. Okay, so one of the things that I would say is that T square with Jupiter is perfecting. There is another T square on Tuesday with the moon. But of course that won't last very long because the moon moves pretty quick. It's pointing at Mercury. And what I was actually noticing is that while Mercury is in Libra, which is talking about fairness, is opposite Chiron, which of course is the wounded healer, right? And it's about the wounds that you get that you're able to heal. And that is the wounded healer, right? That's Chiron and Aries. And with Mercury opposite, it's almost like those two things are it almost makes me think about like a reel or something I seen, and I can't remember who it was, and I've actually seen it a couple of times since then, where people are actually like, is this like the United States karma? And I'm kind of like, I can see. Okay. So most people resist their healing. Not everybody, because some people, I notice the people that have Chiron direct, if you suggest something to them, they will do everything in their power to do that thing, especially if they're suffering. If a person is suffering and they come to you and they have Chiron retrograde and you make suggestions, they're probably not going to do them right away. They'll make excuses as to why. They might avoid them. They might not do them. They'll start doing it, but not finish. Oh, there'll be all kinds of things. Okay. It will depend on what sign it's in usually, but they won't do it right away. They'll do it eventually, but they won't do it right away. And it's just kind of part, I think it's a resistance. I myself have Chiron in retrograde, and I myself catch myself doing that. And so now I know if I'm resisting it, it's probably the best thing for me. Sort of like my Scorpio rising. I know that if I'm afraid to do something, that I probably should do it. And that's because, those are things that you learn over time. That's wisdom, right? But I'm just saying with Mercury in Libra, which is talking about fairness, because that's what Libra is. It's about justice and fairness. And it's completely opposite. And it's coming into a perfection later this week, coming into opposition with the Chiron. This means that maybe what's happening is not fair. And we have to learn how to communicate in a way that is fair. And I know that that's definitely happening in my life, in the relationships with some of the people that I'm in relationship with, such as my granddaughter. I'm working on trying to be fairer with her, okay, and trying to understand her side of things. It's hard sometimes because she's very opposite me. Now, at the same time, we have some things in common. Now, the same time that Mercury, and so what you should understand about oppositions is it's two things opposite each other, pulling in opposite directions. And the same kind of thing is happening at the same time. What day? Okay, so this is I think it was actually Wednesday with Venus in Virgo, which is in its fall in the North Node. So I look at that on Wednesday and I go, wow, between the opposition of Mercury and Chiron, those two things about fairness and individualism, and maybe your resistance to what's good for us, like cooperation, such as like our current country, like us fighting amongst each other is like the stupidest thing we could do. We all need to come together and fight against one fascist um, one fascist administration, which we are living under right now. And then we have Venus in Virgo opposite Pisces, which is in the North Node, which is our destiny. So it's almost like we might even make some, because Mercury rules Virgo and Venus rules Libra. It almost feels like there could be things that are said or money that is spent or things that we could do that wouldn't be in our best interest, that might pull us in two separate directions. So we should be careful about how we spend money and what we say. So we should just be careful about those two things. Take our steps one step at a time and try to work it out in the best way possible. Try not to push too fast. Even though Mars is in Scorpio, which is in its rulership, so it tends to be kind of strong, way stronger than that Venus in Virgo. So it feels like you might feel a level of pressure for things, especially as we get into like Wednesday when it's in a square to the moon. There might be some emotional pressure. It's in a square to Pluto. You might be feeling a little bit of pressure, like I got to get this done. I got to do this on Wednesday. But really, that's not. I'm just going to recommend that you try not to push through. Try not to push for whatever it is, and instead try to just go in the flow and allow things to unfold, because that square to Jupiter in Cancer on Thursday is going to get stronger and stronger. But that square, if you can figure out how to resolve that, how to work through that fairness in your life, that conversation in your life that needs to happen, especially in relation to anything that's happened in the past or anything that has to do with relationship versus individualism, especially in a square to, Jupiter in Cancer, which starts to make me think about, like, if this is like, a person in your relations that is on the opposite side as you, let's try not to fight in that area. Let's try to find resolution. Let's try to find out where we agree. And when you find out where you agree, Thursday, Friday, you could, I mean, especially since Jupiter is exalted in Cancer, and it would be in a trine to both the North Node and Saturn in Pisces, it could actually bring some blessings to you in a really good way. And it would light up those trines a little bit stronger if you work to resolve it, rather than, especially Friday, when it perfects or is mostly perfected. The square isn't mostly perfected, but Mercury and Chiron are in opposition to each other. And I think it actually perfects, it actually starts to fall apart over the weekend. So I think, like, as we build up, the week is going to be building up to that T square. And I really think Thursday is kind of the height of it. And it's really going to have something to do with like individualism, and the wounds of that, maybe something that's happened in the past, opposite sort of conversations or um, communication that has to do with fairness and how to move through that. So Cheryl is saying moving day. Wednesday is moving day. Oh boy, Cheryl. Did you want to add anything, Bright Dog?
No, I think you actually said that really, really well. So, I just want to remind folks that on the first, there will be a 3.5 hour void moon. Not that big of a deal, right? 3:30 to almost 8 o'clock, and then on October 3rd, there'll be a void of course moon from 6:15 to 2 a.m. So that's when the moon will be entering Pisces. It's currently in Aquarius. And yeah, so I think what you've said is absolutely spot on. I concur.
Thanks, Rena. I
I will
will
say
say
I
I
want
want
to
to address
address
the
the questions.
questions.
Okay.
Hannah said, "Good evening, Hannah. We can see you." She says, "Today has been such a rough day for me. Not sure if it's because I'm a Pisces girl." You damn right it's because you're a Pisces person, Hannah. You are all Pisces right now are struggling. It is not easy right now for my Pisces friends. Let me just say, you got your ruling planet retrograde in Aries headed back to your sign. You got Saturn retrograde. You got the North Node in Pisces, and it's just kind of really an intense experience right now. We just had an eclipse, and eclipses can kind of reverberate for up to like 6 months, someone was saying. You can sort of slowly watch the reveal. We're in a slow reveal, especially for people in Pisces, Aries, and Virgo. Especially if you have any placements in there, it will be more intense for you. It will be more pronounced, if you will. Now Alyssa said, is having a Chiron complex. I'm not sure what a Chiron complex is on your chart. Always include a retrograde Chiron in addition to the planets it's conversing with. Um, Chiron's not always retrograde, I can tell you that, but sometimes it is. A lot of times it is. Um, Cheryl said that void moons usually empower her. Well, that's cool. It's good to know that, Cheryl. So, Cheryl, there is you can easily look up void moons on your own online. You can put in your own time zone, and it will tell you when the moon is void in your area and what sign it's going out of and into. Because essentially, a void moon is when um, it's moving from one sign to another without any other aspects. And so that's kind of like when it's really quiet. So I find that interesting. I'm not sure, but I think you have a Cancer placement or something. But anyway, yeah, the eclipse has been insane for Cheryl. I know it's been insane for me as well. Lots of aha moments. I've had a lot of like, oh my gosh, Hollis, dope. Personal empowerment, not allowing myself to be gaslit by doctors. I think we've all made that mistake. I've made it multiple times. And sometimes I'm like, why do I keep making that mistake? Why do I give my power away to white coats? I'm not sure. So anyway, um, so this week is pretty quiet except for that T square with Jupiter. I wouldn't be surprised if something happens. And like I've mentioned before, Jupiter in Jupiter in Cancer has mostly been patriotic people, and it's not always the conservatives. In fact, most of the time it's not, interesting enough, which I have found to be pretty interesting. Bright Hawk, I know that we've been kind of watching this Jupiter retrograde and this Jupiter movement through Cancer, which of course was supposed to be all about patriotism. And when it first entered, I was a little bit anxious because I was like, oh my gosh, what is going to happen to to the conservatives, and what's going to happen? But that's not what happened. Actually, what happened was the the protests started to explode. We had the No Kings protest, and every time Jupiter gets in a strong conversation with something, it usually has something to do with the protests, with people, anti-Trump people.
Um,
Um,
Isn't
yeah,
that perfect?
I thought that was
I
really
think that's
interesting.
really interesting. I find that to be just perfect. I'm really fascinated by that. Because in astrology, it's there's no BS. It's just the stars tell us and we interpret, and you can't make this stuff up is what we frequently find ourselves saying, right? Astrology pointed in really, really big ways to the pandemic. Before the pandemic actually hit, lots of astrologers are going, something's gonna go down. And, sure enough, these are really intense times. And the word unprecedented is so overused, I can't use it anymore. Because it's true.
And let me explain
Yeah.
that.
So, yeah.
I just want to let's talk about that. Let's talk about unprecedented. Let's talk about what's happening in these times right now. So, like for instance, Donald Trump has the sun, okay, his sun, which in your astrology chart, the sun is usually your it's usually like kind of your flashlight in life. It's meant to be where you're supposed to be going. And interesting enough, the sun and Pluto are on top of each other in his chart, which I find fascinating because that's one way to say unprecedented. Pretty much everything he does will be completely different. Uranus is all about weird stuff. It's about your weird spot. It's about progress. It's about moving forward. It's about, and it's not always nice. It is not always good. Sometimes when I think of progress, I'm like, woohoo, yay, right? Because my Uranus is exalted. So my Uranus is in the best place it could be in the entire zodiac. And I'm like, woohoo, yeah, let's go forward. Progress always sounds good to me, but sometimes it's not. And as much as I am like, what does it look like when it's not? And well, I guess an example would be Donald Trump. So, it Uranus is in Gemini for him. And Uranus is currently going backwards, and it will be moving back into Taurus, which is one of the more conservative signs. Taurus is not really big into change, wants to do things the way we've always done it. And Uranus is trying to pull us forward. And so, of course, Uranus is going backwards. And what did I say? Uranus is about review. Uranus is about we need to revisit this. And so, Uranus in Taurus is going to be our last I feel like it's going to be one of our last major battles about gender variance. I feel like this is going to somehow end it. I'm not really sure how, but I'm pretty sure once Uranus has done its turn this winter in Taurus, I feel like there will be a stop to this argument. And I don't know exactly what's going to end it, but being a queer person, a non-binary person, to me, it's like, look, you don't have to believe in my identity, but my identity is mine, and I get to have it. It's called I'm freedom to be an individual. Is something that that has been around for a long time, including something that the founding fathers of the United States were fighting for, if you want to look at it that way. But even for me, it's like, okay, well, but Uranus is going backwards, right? And then it's going to turn around and go forward. But that's one of the reasons that Donald Trump seems to do everything unprecedented. That's why he does things that are kind of out of the box. That's why he does things that feel like, why doesn't he do things like other presidents do? And that's also why he's liked. Okay, that's also why some people like him, because he doesn't do what other presidents do. And a lot of people are tired of the BS. Okay. And so you can understand that. I can get it. I get it. Okay. And at the same time, I'm not sure this is exactly how I would like it to be done. Okay. So, so there's that, but you should keep that in mind, that that's happening right now. Jupiter is going to turn around and go backwards this November. So if you have something in Cancer, this would have something to do with your home. This would have something to do usually with home patriotism, your belief system, including in patriotism, or anything else that has to do with Cancer. Wherever Cancer is in your chart. So you want to look and see what piece of the pie it's under. You're welcome to put what piece of the pie is your Cancer ruling. So if you start over on the left-hand side, it should have an arrow pointing to the left-hand side, right? And then it has the first piece of the pie is 1, 2, 3, and it goes kind of starts on the left, it goes down and around. So you can see that in the chart there. You can see that it starts in Pisces and then goes down and around. The first line that begins, so if you're starting from the left, the first house is ruled by your rising sign. The second house in this chart is ruled by Taurus, because that's that sort of brownish circle with the little horns on it. You can see that on the second line there. That's who rules the second house in this chart. And then the third house is ruled by Gemini, and so is the fourth house on this particular chart. Okay, so you want to look and tell me, comment in the group, comment in the video, and let me know what house does Cancer rule for you, and I'll tell you what it's about. Bianca said that Cancer rules her first house. So Bianca, Cancer rules your first house. So that's about your identity. This is everything you are, Bianca. So maybe you're Cancer rising. So Cancer risings, when Jupiter stands still and starts to go backwards, you're going to start reviewing, who am I and where am I going and why am I going in this direction? Is this what's bringing me the good stuff? Right? Okay. So this is the kind of thing that you're going to want to review about who you are. Now, Hannah said that Cancer rules their 12th house. And Cancer, Cheryl, I assure you, Jupiter might be in your Cancer, but what house is it in? The house is the numbers in the middle. So Hannah says Cancer rules the 12th house there, and so does Alyssa. So when Cancer rules your 12th house, this is like what I was saying a little bit earlier. Earlier, I was saying that Mercury's in my 12th house, creating communication things for me that I'm probably unaware of. Okay, so this is going to be emotional things that you're unaware of. You don't know where they're coming from. You don't even know why that's happening. It could have something to do with your home and how you live or your belief system. So what I'm going to tell you is that to be prepared, to make sure that you have daily meditation. If you have Cancer ruling your 12th house, this means that you're going to be unaware of it. It could be the unseens. You could have communication with the other side. It could have something to do with like hospitals or nursing homes or mental health institutions, anything that is unseen. Okay. And it probably could be numerous of those things. I'm sure Jupiter is in Cancer, but I'm asking you, that means it's exalted. That means you have to find out what house it's in, is what I'm talking about. What house is it in? What number? It should be a number 1 through 12. And so if it's in the 12th house, for the two of you, I'm just going to say that it has something to do, definitely to do with something that's unseen somehow, or your psychic awareness, or anything like that. So like I said, you want to find out what number it is. If you look in the middle part of your chart, there should be numbers 1 through 12. It starts on the left, goes all the way around. Those are the houses. Okay. Each piece of the pie is a different house. And when Cancer's in the 12th house, if Cancer rules the 12th house, then Jupiter's visiting your Cancer right now. And so that's going to be very much about reviewing, maybe not having the greatest of luck in that area. Okay, Samantha says mine's in the 8th. Mine is the 8th or the 9th. First starts on silver of the 8th, so maybe the 8th. Yeah, so Samantha, if it starts there but continues into the 9th, it rules both houses. That's what it means. And so this is going to have a lot to do with your shadow, with the occult, with things you don't want to talk about, other people's money, sex, taxes, death, any of those things. Cancer's going to rule that, both of those houses, and it's going to slow down and go backwards in that house over the winter. And so it could definitely have you reviewing some sort of major information in regards this is so right now you're having some good luck in that area, and some expansion and some belief systems maybe here in your home, and And then it's this winter, this November, it's right around Thanksgiving. It turns around and goes, it's going to get real still in November and then turn around and go backwards. So I'm just giving you guys a heads up, that when Jupiter goes backwards, it's not usually really terrible, but it can sometimes be the opposite of what you're wanting. So so that's kind of like it can be a little bit harder to manifest whatever it is you want. Bianca said, I'm sorry, what's happening in Cancer? I think I just explained it, Bianca. Cheryl said the third house. So the third house is your community, Cheryl. It's your neighborhood, it's your neighbors. So you probably be happy with them until about Thanksgiving. Okay. And you could have some issues come Thanksgiving. So I'm giving you a heads up. Okay. There's your heads up. Your heads up is that it's probably going to have something to do with your neighbors, your community, your siblings, or communication. So try to get your communication in now, and try not to assume that everything's going to be perfect forever, right? Okay. Um, Okay, so Alyssa says, well, it's mostly the 12th and it starts the first house. Oh, because so Alyssa, it will have a lot to do maybe with your identity that you don't even see. So like even how people see you. Okay. Um, so that's interesting. Hannah said, I've been sensing things when I'm around trees. Hannah, I would also give you a heads up, just because I know that you're deaf and that you if there's any kind of that the deaf would be considered unseen because people don't usually notice the deaf, right? Just like they don't notice the blind or handicapped people. So I would classify the deaf community in the 12th house, because most people don't really don't really become aware of it. But I just think it's a good thing to know coming up because Jupiter is going to slow down here in the next couple of weeks, and it's going to get real still in late October, and then it's going to kind of just stand still in November and then go backwards. And I think that can be helpful to know it. It's always been helpful for me to know it. One of the best ways to get through Jupiter retrograde, which usually lasts a while, is to make sure you say your wishes out loud. So leading up to that, I've found the best way to the best way to navigate a Jupiter retrograde, because Jupiter rules wishes. So any important wishes, you want to say them out loud. And I would definitely be very clear about whatever your wish is. Be very clear and concise. Okay. I would really like this to turn out this way. I'd really like this to happen. And I feel like Jupiter's more likely to get on your side. Might take until it goes direct, but you'll get there. Okay. Um, of course, it will come to a resolution at some point, Bianca. I just feel that knowing that it's going to happen when things slow down, especially if you're used to all good things coming to you, coming to you, coming to you, coming to you, and then all of a sudden things kind of go a little like, then you can be like, oh. And it's not that bad things happen. It's just like the good things might slow down. Okay. Um, yeah, Hannah, it just makes me think about that. It makes me think about your community, just because the deaf community is pretty invisible. And that's the 12th, it would probably be ruled in the 12th house because it's also like mental health community, nursing homes, things like that, right? Okay, people that are invisible. All right, so I think I'm going to get ready to do the horoscope for this week. And I'll be looking at that Jupiter in Cancer. Like I said, it is the loudest planet in the sky right now. It is exalted, so that means it's really loud in Cancer, and that's why it will be more impactful this coming season. So I'm going to look at that T square.
Awesome job, Hollis. I'm just going to be a cheerleader and say, awesome job. I'll put up the first little slide that says, how do we,
You just click on it.
Well, I'm double clicking on it and nothing's happening. Do you have to double click on it? I don't know why we would have different. It says 1 Aries. There you go. Was that you or me?
That's you.
Okay, great. All right, I will mute.
All right, so we're going to start out for Aries. This is a horoscope for Aries for this week, particularly Thursday, October the 2nd. This is a horoscope for Aries, Sun, and Rising. Particularly Rising will be the most accurate. This is October the 2nd for Thursday for Aries. Aries, this has everything to do with your identity in relation to relationships, particularly probably romantic relationships or relationships with children in particular, or anything that you've created. Because pretty much this is happening in everything that has to do with the relationships for you, particularly romantic relationships. You're probably going to have some sort of feeling about fairness versus what's good for you, or what's important for you to keep your independence or whatever that is, Aries. And we know that's very important to you. The sun is exalted in your sign. We know that it's very important that you are able to be seen as an individual. And also, what does it look like to have a good relationship with someone? And because you don't want to just be out there all alone, my Aries friend. So, be aware that this Jupiter T-square, there's going to be something with relationships that you'll have to resolve. It's probably going to be a romantic relationship or a relationship with a child. So Aries, or in a relationship with something that you have created yourself. Maybe it's art or something else that's creative that you created. It will be particularly important for you, Aries, especially right now with Neptune retrograde. It could be something that you overlooked or something that you just didn't notice. Next is, whoa, I went the wrong way. Next is Taurus. Okay, so this is the horoscope for Taurus for October the 2nd. And this is really good for Sun and Rising Taurus. And what I'm going to say is that this is going to have everything to do with your home, Taurus. It's just going to mean that there could be something that you're not noticing, something that you didn't see. Maybe there has to be a conversation about fairness in your day to day life, something that needs to be communicated in your day to day life, particularly in relationship, that has to do particularly with your home or where you live or your parents or your family of origin, that kind of thing, Taurus. This is a really important time for you in that Uranus is heading back your way, bringing changes. There might be some communication that needs to happen in order to bring expansion and growth in your home or your family or your parents or your family of origin. All right. So that's for Taurus. Next, this is the horoscope for Gemini. Gemini, this is for Gemini Sun and Rising. This is for October the 2nd, Thursday. And this will have everything to do with your community, with people around you, with where you live. And there might be some communication that needs to happen, maybe with something that was overlooked by you, something that you didn't notice or didn't know. Um, Especially something that was invisible. It will have something to do with like your day-to-day life and communication and fairness. So just stay open to that. Try to work through that problem on Thursday. As you work through it, it will bring expansion and understanding and good belief systems in regards to the community, to your neighbors, to your siblings, or the people that you live around. I believe this will bring some great expansion for you, though. It will really expand your world in that area. Next is the horoscope for Cancer. This is for Cancer, Sun, and Rising. Cancer, this is going to have everything to do with the people you know or people that have influence over you in regards to maybe your children, or anything creative that you've created. This is going to have to do with money. Okay, Cancer, especially Cancer Rising, Cancer Sun. This is going to have to do with money. Jupiter tends to rule good luck. There could be some great things trying to come your way, but there's some sort of problem solving that has to happen first. So work through this problem. Make sure you speak what is fair. Make sure you talk about fairness. Make sure you're clear about what is fair for you and what feels fair. So tap into that, Cancer. Make sure you speak your truth. I know sometimes that can be challenging for you, but you can do it. And I want to say that on Thursday, the ruling planet, the moon, is in Aquarius. So Thursday is going to actually be a better day. Thursday night, maybe even during the day. Thursday will probably be a really good day for you to be able to speak your truth because the moon's in Aquarius. So it'll be a little bit less intense for you, I feel like. And it will be, your feelings will be like kind of less in your face. So if you're feeling it on Wednesday, try to wait till Thursday. Try to say whatever you got to say regards to fairness, with whoever it is that has influence over you. This could be a boss. This could be any person that you work with, coworkers, or anyone else that has influence over you. You have something to say, and it's about fairness and in relation to money. It will bring money to you. It will bring expansion of money, or make money more available to you. And I think that that's why you just got to take it slow. And I'm going to just say that Thursday is your best day to speak your truth. Now, the next is for Leo. This is for Leo, Sun, and Rising. Leo, this is going to have everything. This is on Thursday. This is actually October 2nd, Thursday. And this will be, Jupiter, you may not see this blessing coming. You may not even be aware of the blessing. You might take it for granted. You might not even be aware of how important this belief system is. Maybe you have a growth mindset. Whatever it is, it's going to have something to do with work and home. And this is going to have everything to do with your career or whatever you put out in the world, and some fairness that you need to talk about around your home, and how that serves you in the best possible way. And with it landing in Cancer, that's pretty much, that Jupiter in Cancer there. It's really going to bring some expansion to your belief system, some awarenesses, maybe even a better communication with the other side somehow. Thursday is a great day for you to reach out and connect to the other side, tap into your third eye, do some psychic readings, do a tarot reading, have a reading with somebody, come to coaching with me, whatever it is. Thursday, Friday, those are really good days for you to tap into the other side, tap into the invisible, but also be aware it could be about your connection to invisible communities such as like nursing homes, mental health, and like I was saying earlier, like deaf communities or blind communities, or anybody that is sort of unseen in our world most often. Okay. And so that's really Jupiter in Cancer. And that's really going to be happening on Thursday for you, Leo. Okay. Now this is for Virgo. Virgo, first of all, let me just say Venus is in your sign and it's in its fall. Try to be careful how you're spending money. Go slow. Try not to make any quick decisions. Even in regards to Jupiter being influential over you. This is going to have something to do with people that you work with or people that have an influence over you. That's where you're going to have expansion, but it will be in relation to like spiritual awakenings or education, especially in relation to like your neighbors or people around you or the community that you live in. There could be some fairness discussions in that discussion about your neighbors or discussion about fairness. And it's opposite whatever's happening in the ninth house, which is very much about education, the law. It can also be about like spiritual awakenings and things like that, and they're both in a square, so those two things are going to be what creates the conflict. But it will point to that Jupiter in the 11th house, which is very much about people that have an influence over you, your friends, your boss, or anyone like that that may have an influence. It's going to expand them for you. Okay. This next one is for Libra. Libra, this is going to be very much to do with your career. I'm laughing because now I want to like send these to my son. This is going to have very much to do with your career. This is a conversation about fairness and your identity with fairness, because we all know that Libra is all about being fair. Okay, like Libra is like we gotta be fair. Okay, and that's pretty much where the Mercury is. It's in Libra along with the sun in Libra. So if you're a Libra sun or a Libra rising, you're really going to feel this. It's going to be very strong. It's going to have something to do with relationships. Not necessarily, it's probably going to have something to do with work relationships. So this could be people that you work with, or people that you're in relationship with in relation to your job somehow. So it could be like companies that you're in relationship with or something like that because of your work. And it's going to have to do with your job. It's going to expand your work in the world. It's going to set you forward to work in the world, or whatever career you do, or whatever it is that you offer the world. This next one is for Scorpio. Scorpio, this is for Thursday, October 2nd. You know, this is going to have everything to do with your spiritual awakening, with spiritual awareness, education, um, grandparenting, because it is pointing to the ninth house. So this is about the grandparenting for us grandparents out there, since I'm a Scorpio rising, and the ninth house represents grandparenting, in case you didn't know that. And the grandparenting is Jupiter. It means it's expanding. It means an expansion of knowledge, especially in relation to fair communication and relationships in day-to-day life, and recognizing how you can work through that in order to be better educated, or bring better education, or teach better, or be a better grandparent, or be more present in your grandparenting, or have different belief systems around that, or have some sort of spiritual awakening. Okay, so it's going to be kind of like that. It's the house of higher thinking. So you have to think of it that way. So it could absolutely be like mindset, or mindfulness, or meditation, or anything like that that brings higher thinking. And that's why we put grandparents there, right? Because grandparents are usually wise, right? So think the ninth house is like wisdom. Okay, and so that's really what this ninth house, that's where Jupiter's going to be at for you on Thursday. And it's going to be building up all this week. And so you can really count on that, Scorpio, to really peak on like Wednesday, Thursday, and even Friday. Okay, so this week it's really going to get nice and strong, and you're going to become more aware of it as we go on. This next one is for Sagittarius. Sagittarius, this is your horoscope for October the 2nd. And this is very much going to have to do with your the house of things you don't want to talk about, which we all know that Sagittarius is usually not in to talking about things that make other people uncomfortable. But you're going to have to, okay? This might have something to do, Sagittarius, with kids or children, or something that you've created. And it's very important that you tap into that, okay? And make sure you say what's fair, because this could have something to do with friends, or something that needs to be said to friends, because this is really going to push you towards expanding in the eighth house. So that's really about things you don't want to talk about: sex, death, taxes, um, underground, anything that has to do with, like I said, things you don't want to talk about, anything that makes you uncomfortable. It could absolutely have something to do with the occult, could absolutely have, if you're an astrologer or tarot or witchcraft, any of those kinds of information, Sagittarius, that's the kind of information that's going to be coming through. Could change your belief system about it. And it and it definitely could be your shadow. That's what we call the eighth house. It's often your shadow. It's often things that make you uncomfortable. And I know that that's not your favorite topic, Sagittarius, but there's some sort of fairness that needs to come up. And so I know that you will do the right thing because that's who you are. And so just remember fairness and to find a balance between fairness and individualism, particularly if it has anything to do with friends or a relation to children or things that you've created or romantic relationships. This next horoscope is for Capricorn. Capricorn, this is for Thursday for you. This has everything to do with relationships for you. You're going to feel a real shift in relationships, particularly how you present yourself to others, particularly how that works for you and what you offer the world and your individualism. And there might have to be a little give and take here and talking about what's fair and what's not fair. And that would help you expand in relationships. That's going to help you become more aware of things. It's going to help you expand in those relationships, maybe get a little bit deeper in those relationships, maybe even have a blessing through those relationships because of your relationships with those people and your own work. You're probably going to have to do your own personal work about what you bring to the world and how you really feel inside. So really check in there, Capricorn. I know it's sometimes a little bit harder for you to get in touch with the emotions, but just spend a little bit extra time Thursday, even this week leading up to Thursday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. I know you're good at preparing for things. So just take a little bit of time to kind of buckle down, take a little extra time to think and really tap into how you're really feeling about that and what it really feels like and what feels good for you. Okay. Next is Aquarius. This is for Aquarius, Sun and Rising. For October, this is your horoscope for October the 2nd, which is Thursday. Aquarius, this is going to have everything to do with your day-to-day life. Maybe there's something that has to do with other people's money or inheritance or whatever, and money and where you live or what your community is and who you're around on a day-to-day basis and how this affects your day-to-day life. You're really looking to change your day-to-day life. You're looking for some positive changes in that department. You'll be able to find them the more you balance and take care of money in relation to how you spend money and how you make money and how you get money and how that's in relation to other people's money, including taxes and other topics that aren't the most comfortable to talk about. But you'll be there. Just tap into those topics and try to tap into some wisdom. That would really help, particularly when you go to talk about it. Maybe you could ask for more wisdom and not assume that you just know everything. And maybe ask them more questions. That would be my best advice for this, especially on how you live your day-to-day life and how you express that. This next is for Pisces. Pisces, this is your horoscope for Thursday, October the 2nd. Now, this has everything to do with children or how you see children, how you feel about your children, particularly in relation to money and other people's money. So, the money that you make and spend, and other people's money, and what's fair and what's not fair. And so, that's going to be in relation to children in particular, because you're going to want to probably expand your children or to expand your creativity or whatever it is you're putting out in the world. whatever the creative endeavor is. Um, I feel that you'll get this resolved, but it will require some communication. It will feel like a push pull at first. It will feel like it's opposite. Let it play out, and try to go in the flow. Try not to get too upset or caught up in any of the emotion. Try to stay tuned until Thursday or Friday and see if you can resolve it, particularly in relation to other people's money and your money, and make sure you stay in tune with what's fair and try not to resist your healing. And that's it. There we go. You just click on it again. All right. So here we are. We're back. Well, thanks for listening, everyone. Thanks for tuning in. um Alyssa's like, I'm all into tapping into the other side on Thursday. That's the 12th house. That's the 12th house, Alyssa. So think about that with Jupiter in the 12th house. It could mean that you start listening to your guides a little bit better. Maybe you're in connection with your husband a little bit better. So be paying attention to that, particularly right now, and throughout the winter. Hey, Regina. Um, Anyway, I hope that this horoscope was good for all of you. I hope that you find this helpful in your week to come. And I wish for you the best. It's not a hard week. The biggest challenge is on Thursday, which I just went over. And I feel like you'll work through it. There is a resolution to it. And that's really what we have to think about. Alyssa, that's what I would think. That's what I think is going to happen for you, Alyssa. I think you're going to get better connected to the other side, and come spring, you're going to, when Neptune goes direct and starts moving into Aries, you're going to have an awareness that all this time now was well spent, and that you're better connected to the other side, and probably healing, even though you weren't aware of it now. I'm pretty sure that's going to be the big part of this cycle for you. Okay.
Do we have time for the tarot?
Mhm.
All right. And now Hollis will do the amazing tarot, 3-card pull, past, present, future. And we love to see how the tarot reflects the astrology. Take it away, Hollis.
All right. So this is the astrology. This is the tarot pool for everyone. This is for the whole week with the Love is Love deck. This is a LGBTQ deck. Each one of these cards is done by a different LGBTQ artist. And so as we move forward in this week, I want to first say that the first card is in relation to the past. This is the 10 of Pentacles. This is very much about relationships that you've had that have gone well and how to celebrate them. And this is very much about the goodness in relationships that you've had. So this is the universe reminding you of the good, supportive, positive relationships in your life, because they're probably there for support, meant to be there to inspire you. Because this week you're going to be stepping through some major changes. You're going to be blooming. Your wings are going to come out of the cocoon. That's what this is. This is all about the High Priestess card. And this is all about becoming who you're meant to be. This is about stepping into your power and becoming exactly what you were meant to be. This is represented by a moth in this picture. It's sort of a person sort of stepping out of their cocoon, which is very much the High Priestess card of becoming and stepping into your power, which is very much what we're doing. Because after that, we're going to probably have a little time to be more reflective. And with the Hermit card, which is about being alone, um and this is very much about your inner reflection and what that means to you, and being alone, and how being alone makes you think, and how you feel about it, about whatever personal growth you've been going through. I'm sure that there's some things that are in relation to the good relationships and the supportive relationships you've been having, and how those have been serving you and helping you grow into the person you're meant to be, the High Priestess card. And as you grow into the person you are in the future, you might have a little time to reflect on that and how that deeply affects you and what that looks like for you.
Wow. Very cool. Well, thank you all for listening. Thanks for your great comments and questions and participation. I hope you feel comfortable sharing this podcast. Maybe somebody you know needs to hear it. Really appreciate the likes and the thumbs up, and those kind of things make a big difference when you're putting out these podcasts. So many, many thanks. Thanks for listening to Rainbow Soul Astrology, where we try to be a bridge between you and the stars. We wish you a great week. Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thanks so much for spending time with us this week. We hope you're feeling more connected to the cosmic energies in your life and what works for you. We send you lots of love on your journey. If you enjoyed today's show, please hit that subscribe button. It really helps reach more people who could use some cosmic guidance. Hey, and don't forget to share this episode with anyone who might need or want to hear it. And we love hearing from you, so drop us a comment and let us know what resonated most for you, or if you'd like to hear something new next week. Your questions and feedback make us better. Want to join us live? Subscribe! Catch us on Facebook and YouTube. And that's where you can ask real-time questions and be part of the Rainbow Soul Astrology community while it happens. Until next week, trust your intuition. Follow your inner wisdom. And remember, the stars are always supporting your journey. Thanks for listening to Rainbow Soul Astrology, where we try to be a bridge between you and the stars.